Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call this regular town council meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Counselor Bragdon,
Present.
Counselor Danforth,
Here.
Chair Dumais,
Here.
Counselor Gottlieb,
Here.
Counselor Higgins,
Here.
Counselor Madore,
Here.
Counselor Pelletier.
Here. Would you please uncover and recite the pledge of allegiance with me? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Just an adjustment on the backup documentation for order number 40-2023.
Thank you very much. I see no approvals to minutes. We will move to special presentations. Joseph Vernon from iWork.
I actually don't see Joseph online quite yet.
All right, we'll move on. If he should happen to pop on, would somebody please let me know, and then we could possibly put that in the new business. We will move now to the town manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So it was requested that I provide some updates on larger scale infrastructure projects that have been in the planning stages for some time. There are 3 to talk about before I get into department updates. So along with the Maine Department of Transportation, it's planning going on for Bates Street utility project and resurfacing. So that will be a substantial project that'll take place on Bates Street over 2 phases over 2 years. This will include upgrades to the stormwater system, the sewer infrastructure, culverts, repavement, and then reconstruction of the sidewalks, bringing them up to ADA standards. The overall cost of this project is roughly $2.2 million. The bulk of which will be covered by some funding we were allotted from the Maine Department of Transportation. And we will be developing a plan in the next couple of weeks on how we may be able to cover town's share. So this is not set in stone quite yet, but the town's share on this project was roughly $500,000. We have some preliminary thoughts in speaking with the treasurer on how that may be doable, but there is that's by design. Don't. I can turn it up, but we're going to
Okay,
audio.
got you. I'm sorry.
Okay, where was I? Yes, we are not quite ready to present a plan on how that will work, but stay tuned. We'll provide an update in the coming weeks. Consideration of that project. It was a proposal put in late last summer, early last fall, in partnership with our Joseph now with our Public Works Director at the time, along with our Community Initiatives Director. So it was actually a grant opportunity through the Maine Department of Transportation partnership where that is a DOT route through Bates Street.
Mr. Manager, could I interrupt you for 1 minute?
Absolutely.
Would you please inform Joseph Vernon? Can you hear me?
Still connecting audio at the moment.
We will announce that we'll do a presentation after your manager's report.
Sure.
Okay.
Can you not hear me speaking, sir? Who can't hear something in the room? Oh, Tom. that a little better? Yes, so that is a big, yes, Joseph, Vernon from Ironworks, just an update. We had moved past that agenda item and into the manager's report. We will get back to, your presentation in just a little bit once this item is wrapped up. So next up on the list of infrastructure projects, number 2 is with Oliver Associates. And that is the culvert connecting Penobscot Avenue to Iron Bridge Road. This is following some discussion last spring when we allocated the funding, the match funding for the grant monies that were allowed to us to pay for that infrastructure repair. We have a culvert in that location that is deteriorating and currently in a position where we are unable to travel across it with fire trucks, So that is in the process. We expect to put that out to bid with the help of Oliver Associates in the coming days. The due date for those bids is expected to be the end of March, and we will plan to have a recommendation to award that work on April 13th. Start time will be determined through the bid process and what the available contractors have for their workload. And then, yes, just a reminder on, the funding is already allocated for that. So that should be, no glaring obstacles coming up in front of that one. Lastly, another Oliver Associates project. This is the main pump station upgrade for wastewater. This is the last of the pump stations to be upgraded. They have all been gone through in past however many years. This is the pump station that is located behind Little Italy Playground and Dog Park over there by that transformer. Main pump station, this is what sends the entirety collected from the town's wastewater system and moves it out to the wastewater treatment facility. So this is the design phase is nearing completion, and they expect to have the electrical engineering work finalized in the coming weeks, and hopefully we'll be ready to put that out for bid in the next 2 to 3 months. So work on that. Start date is to be determined, depends on the season we're heading into and the availability in the contractor's workloads. Moving into departments, I want to offer some pretty big thank yous to our public works crew for going above and beyond per usual and helping to assist in creating the snowmobile trail through downtown for the snowmobile parade for Winterfest. That was a fantastic parade. I really enjoy seeing the old sleds and the antiques going by. They come out very early in the morning and they transport all that snow from the snow dump. And then they immediately following that parade, they come back in late at night and pick all that up and transfer it back out to the snow dump. So that is quite a bit of work on that crew. A note in here about the freezing and thawing weather we've had recently, and that's creating more and more potholes. So just a warning to keep your eyes peeled, be aware of the road conditions. They are addressing them as quickly as they possibly can, but we hope that others will just try to be aware of them popping up this time. They've been doing a lot of snow removal. You've seen them working through the neighborhoods in the downtown areas with snow blower and dump truck method, where they widen the streets for more passing space and to keep them safer. So we really appreciate that work with them. In the world of the town treasurer, we are expecting the FY22 audit report soon. It does need to be reported to the state by the end of February. In this moment, it's unsure if we need to file an extension, but we will find out in the next days. And the FY24 budget worksheets have been distributed to the department heads. I'm almost 2 weeks ahead of schedule, so really looking forward to getting into that process. Wastewater operations going as well as they can. We have an incredible crew, an incredible system. Always reminding the community not to flush things that are not flushable. We did after, I think it was 7 or 8 month wait time. We did receive the replacement truck for that department, so that has come in and has been newly decaled by Mr. Campbell over here with our nice Millinocket emblem on the sides of it. Looks real nice. Speaking of the airport and Mr. Campbell, lots of traffic up there. 79 operations this month so far, and maybe more considering this report was submitted almost a week ago. Lots of jet fuel sales, lots of aviation gas sales. Was able to aid in the Maine Forest Service as they conducted searches for overdue hiker in Baxter Park recently. They were actually, those jets were in and out of the airport several times that day during that mission. A code enforcement officer has been very active, issuing, an increasing number of permits. So I'm very happy to know that permitting activity is picking up. We need to have those jobs documented so that we have the right information on file in our systems here on local government, and a certificate of occupancy for our new business to town, the Dollar General. He has also made, to me, very impressive progress on several derelict properties in the community. We have a written agreement from a property owner on Eastland Avenue, outlining a plan of attack for removal of excess unregistered rundown vehicles, as well as garbage and other debris from the lawn. So we're really excited about the progress there. It has been attempted by several code enforcement officers in this town's past, and it has never made it to this level. So we're pretty happy to see that moving forward. Similar story on Aroostook Avenue. We remember the major building fire that was over there. I think it was late last summer, and that building is now coming along, responding to requests from neighbors about leaning retaining walls and potential property damage to their abutting properties. Chris was able to communicate with that property owner and get that situation under control, and is now working with that property owner through the demolition and renovation permitting and process. He also got to have a personal tour of the One North site by our fire chief, Mr. Malcolm. So, we know with multiple new developments coming on that site, it would be pertinent for him to understand what's behind the gate and have an opportunity to familiarize himself with that property. In the world of recreation, the skating rink has been a big hit. Unfortunately, until the change in the weather recently, it's very hard to keep frozen water and fluctuating from 50 degrees to low 20s to below 0 to back up to 50. That and the direct sunlight make it very difficult to keep that frozen. We are hopeful that it may get flooded with some cold snaps coming up, and we may get a little more use out of it. But even in the short few weekends that it was open, with the addition of ability to borrow skates, now that we have a set of rental skates, we were seeing numbers higher than 70 for uses each of the days on the weekends. So that was a good sign. And then of course for our Snowdown event, there were I believe well over 200 people there that day, in and out and having a great time. So we're very happy to have that facility. Jody is in the preliminary process of seeking grant funding for potential roof structure for that area. Even just a simple pavilion style roof, maybe a layer of concrete underneath it, will make a world of difference in direct sunlight and damage from snow collection, as well as, you know, having a sealed layer underneath the ice where the ground is not able to release the air and bubble up through as it melts and refreezes. That'll be, if that is accomplished, that'll be major improvement. Community initiatives has been working, very busy working with the events committee. Have several events coming up that they are planning on and looking into next season as well. Looking at bike rodeo for the spring, scheduling more movie nights. The 4th of July celebration is on their radar, as well as a potential summer music series. So please stay tuned for more to come from the events committee. And please, if you'd like to lend your hand or your voice into the conversation or volunteer to help, those, like any other committee of the town, are open to the public, whether or not you're a member serving on the committee. Public is always welcome to participate in the discussion, share ideas. She did receive news that we were approved for the EV charger funding. So we will be looking at putting that job out to bid here very soon. She adds a note to keep in mind that if we were to accept a bid over the proposed amount, then the additional cost would be on the town. We would hopefully seek a bid within the, expected spending range. And she's been working with Bissell Brothers Brewing. They had started a partnership through the events committee during our last marathon, where the Bissell Brothers was contributing from every pint sold in our community to a scholarship fund. Well, that conversation has been driving right along, and it's likely that we will have a Millinocket brew with our logo on it to be sold in the near future, or definitely during that marathon weekend. And then they would like to make that a long-lasting partnership to contribute from that beer to that scholarship fund. So lots of good info there. We also have her cross-training and general assistance, so that when our GA director is not available or out of the office, Amber will be able to step in and administer our GA program as well. Tax collector and clerk's office is very busy this time of year. So far, they've collected a little over 1.3 million in revenues. In regards to real estate accounts, real estate taxes, remaining unpaid balances are 550,000, and personal property just about 11,000. And now that we are well into February, that late fee is now assessed on dog registrations. That's an additional $25. But please stop in and see the ladies in that office if you have any questions or need anything registered. They have plenty of services there, and they always are happy to help. Our fire, ambulance, public health and safety department has been very busy this winter. They participated in both Winterfest and Snowdown. It was great to have them there, even accompanied by old Sparky himself. Sparky the Dalmatian dog was there partying with us for that event. They've been doing chimney inspections for residents, wood stove inspections for insurance companies for 2 different residents, administering the sand bucket program for our community. For those who may not know about that program, it's a great opportunity to have Chief Malcolm or somebody from the fire department deliver you some mixed sand and salt from our public works department in your very own bucket. And then you can have that at your house to put down on your slippery driveways and walkways. The thanks to Assistant Chief Cody, we have some hazmat awareness training going on for our staff, as well as he's started a basic fire school for call fighters. The course is being offered to our mutual aid departments in our neighboring communities. Currently has 10 students attending. The program is provided through Maine Fire Service Institute, who will be providing the necessary training props for the class. But we're very impressed and very excited to see all the new training opportunities and education opportunities popping up in that department. The Millinocket Memorial Library report is attached. I'm not going to dive deep into that this evening, but I'm happy to take any questions or comments on my report. I do recommend that anyone in attendance or following up online take a deeper dive into this report. There's always much more information in it than I do read out loud during the meetings, but please take a better look on our website. It can be found on the meeting materials. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any council comment or question on the manager's report? Council Bragan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, big kudos to the code enforcement officer. It's great to finally see some traction. I'm super happy to see that budget worksheets were handed out early. That's very impressive, and I'm happy that this is starting early this year, and hopefully we can get it done on time. Transfer station, I got to see that firsthand, and it was kind of sketchy, so I'm glad that's been taken care of. And the last thing, Mr. Manager, I apologize if I've missed it or if I've forgotten, but have we had any update on the cameras that we had talked about a couple months ago?
No, we have not received a quote on that yet.
Still haven't.
Still have not. I will follow up with him in the near future. I know that he's taken on some additional work recently, so not sure of his availability in that field, but I will find out.
Okay, thank you.
Council Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Town Manager for his report and say thank you for all the departments and the work that they do for us. Definitely a good thing with the code enforcement officer.
Council Danforth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a comment and a question. I think it's great that Amber, our Community Initiatives Director, is cross-training so that she can help out with some of the general assistance cases that come through. I know that can be a heavy job sometimes, and I think that's great to have her cross-trained. Would it be okay to ask the town clerk, just is if the remaining balances of unpaid taxes, is that typical for this time of year to be 550,000?
But yes, it's slightly higher, the paid balances, so that's good that they're coming in. If you look at I don't know if it gives a percentage on that report or not. It's a little less than half that's been paid, so that's typical.
It is typical for this
Yeah.
time of the year. Thank you. And on the library report, I just want to bring attention just to the last page where it talks about the resource navigation that's happening. Mobilize Katahdin is getting a lot of calls, and some of them have to do with mental health, people having questions and looking for resources. And what's important also to note that they're looking for additional training themselves that they will then be able to offer to our town employees. This mental health first aid training boot camp, I think probably is going to be offered by NAMI, or that's the main division of the National Association, for Mental Illness. That's going to be coming up, and I just want to make sure that the town staff is encouraged to know about the training when it comes, because we know that the town is dealing with a lot more of those types of cases. So that will be a great resource. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Danforth. Council Goley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also thanking all the departments for their hard work and manager for putting together a good report. Just two quick things. just wanted to point out that the new work truck for the wastewater was purchased through our local Katahdin Motors. It's just another great way that we've supported a local business. But also just an appreciation for them. The car industry is still in a significant level of chaos. The amount of work that they had to go through to put that deal together for our town was significant. So I just want to commend them and thank them for their hard work to make that happen. Also, thank you to the fire department for all of your new training programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Gottlieb, Council Madore.
I only have one question. And it may sound very superficial, but what is a Knox box?
Knox box, no. Go right ahead.
Either way,
Knox box is a device that goes on a building that has the keys to the building. We recommend them for all apartment buildings, schools, banks, hospitals, everybody where there's more than one door, so that we have keys to the whole facility. Because a lot of the places don't have one master key. Our school is mostly master key, but still has some. So we have a key to that box. We're the only ones that have it, is the fire department. And we can get into the building and go wherever we need to go. We've
Thank you.
started requiring those on buildings. Anytime anybody calls and talks to us about refurbing a building or redoing anything, we urge them to put one on.
Thank you, Chief.
thank you. I did not know that. The other thing I wanted to mention is I want to thank the manager I had inquired about the projects that we have going on as far as the infrastructure projects and asked him for the update. Thank you very much for getting it as timely as you did and as quickly as you did. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Madore. Down to the public. Any public comment or questions about the manager's report? Seeing none via Zoom. Name and address, please.
Jimmy Biss, 32 Forest Avenue. It's my first meeting since your new election.
Welcome
I'd like to
back.
welcome the new members. Great to see some Republicans that we've gained on the council. As always, look forward to that. One of the things, I got a few here. First off, I'd like to thank the Public Works in the town for all the work they did down Jerry Pond. We the Fin and Feather Club, we had our family fishing day. We've had a number of them. I don't know what number this is, but very successful. We had a good turnout. Matter of fact, I think we had a record number of fish caught. Some of the biggest fish was 3 pounds, 8 ounces. So it was a very good event. Many hot dogs cooked, and just we look forward to it every year. And we thank the Public Works, does a great job every year. So we thank them. I'd just like to comment that as you're getting close to budget seasons, we just heard that the tax collection is a little off. That people are struggling. People are having a hard time. Last couple of years, it's been a tough stretch with the cost of everything, energy, food, you name it. I'd like to remind the council we need to lower our taxes. People are hurting. One other thing I always bring this up, something that's always troubled me. On the fire department programs, you mentioned three programs. Chimney inspections, I don't remember what the other 2 were. Who does these programs? Who does the chimney inspections or whatever? Can the manager answer that?
Imagine it's Tom. Tom and John as well. Okay, so John in a training and transitional capacity. But yeah,
So
that's
we
an
have
administrative
the
level.
chief plus someone else is doing it now?
Yep.
My always was belief that the fire department, that should be more involved. All of them should be out there doing that, getting involved with the public. been too long, we've had just the chief doing these programs. And it's been a long time coming that we need to get all the, the department involved and get them out in public so the public can see them. I think that's a good thing and something that they all should be trained up on. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bisk. Anybody else from the public want to comment on the manager's report? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager, for a good report. All right, so I think at this point, we're going to move to the special presentation. Mr. Vernon from iWorks, are you prepared and ready?
Hi, yes, I am. I am prepared and ready. Hopefully you can hear me now.
Thank you, sir. The floor is yours for the next 15 to 20 minutes.
All right, let me share my screen here for us. First off, thanks everyone for giving me a few minutes tonight. I appreciate it. I apologize for being a few minutes late. Initially, I was in the wrong Zoom meeting, so glad we were able to catch up here. I'll be brief. I've been working with Peter a little bit to go through some permitting and code enforcement software, and we've had some good discussions there. And so I'll be brief, just walking you through a little bit of information about iWork, who we are as a company, and then the service that we're hoping to provide. A little company background on iWork. We were founded back in 2001, so we've been in business a little over 20 years now. During that time, our market focus has been on our permitting and code enforcement software to make sure we can provide the best product possible for our customers. And back 20 years ago, we were also the first web-based system in the market. Touching here on some customers, we have over 2,000 customers throughout the nation. There in the state, we have quite a few customers, a lot of people that use the software that love it to track the permits and code cases. Going back here, just a few unique things about iWork. With it being web-based, you're going to have access out in the field. So Chris, the code officer, would be able to go out and do an inspection or enter a note or take a picture and upload it while he's out doing his inspections or the work that he's doing. Software itself is highly configurable. I know we just looked at a list of people in the state that use the software, but just to let you know, we're going to work with you to configure the software to match exactly what your needs are. We understand they're going to be different than other people there in the state, and so we're going to make sure we can track everything exactly how you need. As far as our software goes, we do the pricing based on the population of the town, and with that pricing, you get unlimited users. We do provide free training and free support, and as we release updates and enhancements, those are also included. So that's a little background on iWork. The next thing I want to jump to and spend a moment on is we're looking to provide an online portal where citizens would be able to apply for a permit online, pay for a permit online. Same with a code violation, they could submit one. So going here to look at the online application, what we try to do is provide a simple solution here that the citizens would be able to go through and use easily. So they'd be able to attach an address where they're doing work, fill out a simple application. This is an example. We would work with you to create the applications that the town asks for and the information they need. Then the citizens would be able to submit those applications with all the required information, and the town would receive an email letting them know an application's come through, and they could manage that application from that point. Jumping over from there, just to go into a little more detail here, this is the software that the town would use each and every day. I'd imagine it'll mostly be Chris, but this is where you would log in. This would be a dashboard that shows all of the permits that the town has. And as you continue to use the software, the dashboard builds, and so you can have those historical records and reference them easily at any time. In this dashboard, you can search through it. You can find anything you need. You can open up any permit. and look for anything that you might need to find. So here I'll go search for an address, and that'll pull up any permit at a specific address. From there, I'll open up this permit, and we'll just touch on this briefly. We don't need to get into the weeds too much here, but the idea for iWork here, the flow is it's on one screen. It's easy to see. It's easy to manage for Chris and whoever else might be using it. So first things first, up at the top, the property information's there, so they know where the address is. They know about that property. Here's the application information that the person submitted online, or they can still bring in a paper application. From there, you're able to see the contractors, the fee process, the payments that have happened. You can keep track of all the inspections that you're doing, and you can go here and generate a permit or a certificate of occupancy to give back to the person that's applied for the permit. And that's a brief overview of the permit module as well. Now I want to go touch on code enforcement. So similar idea to what we were seeing, where you have a dashboard here that has all of the cases listed. From there, you can search through the cases. You could search for all your active cases. That's what I've done here. So you can see in the status here, I'm just seeing my active cases, so I know what I'm working on a day-to-day basis. I'll go and open up one case here, and we'll take a brief look at what you can track on the case. Here we've got the property information at the top, similar to what we saw before with the permits. And you can track fees if you do any sort of fee there, but right here, this is where Chris would be able to come in and track, all the work that he's doing. So I heard you mention before there was a property that, there's been a lot of work on in the past, and so you could keep those notes. That way every single time you've gone to visit what's happened as far as maybe you're doing a phone call, you can keep the notes of the phone call, or the notes of what they've told you, or an email, whatever it might be, you can keep track of that. Mark which violations they have on their property, and where that becomes helpful is we can help generate a notice of violation. You can see the violations I've marked on that property, or what pull up in my notice of violation that I'm getting ready to send. And that can also attach photos if I take any pictures of the violations. So there's a very brief overview of the software. I'd love to hear any questions that anyone has, or any thoughts on what they saw there.
Thank you, Joseph. I do appreciate that. We'll field questions now or comments from the council. Council Bragdon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got to be with a couple of counselors and see a very similar product that was shown to us. Very happy with the decision that the town is going forth with doing this. I think it's going to escalate a lot of projects, make the code enforcement officer's job a lot easier. Documentation will become a lot easier. However, we do have an older generation in town. So Joseph, my question to you is, for citizens who are filling out forms online, is this product available across all devices?
Yeah, that's a fabulous question. It will be available for them across any device, whether it's a phone, a tablet, Apple, Android, maybe it's a computer, any of those devices they'll be able to access and apply for a permit online.
Okay, perfect. And then my last question, and Mr. Manager, you might be able to answer this. Trio, this will tie into Trio easily. This will work together. I know there were concerns before on that. So is the system going to be usable with Trio?
So, yeah, I will touch on that. As far as Trio goes, we're very familiar with it. A lot of the municipalities we work with in the state also use Trio, and so the connection there is great. We're able to get the property information out, and we can provide some financial reports for it as well, as far as the money being brought in on your permit.
Awesome. I appreciate you presenting today.
Thank you, Council Bragdon. Council Gottlieb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Councilor Bragdon pointed out, there are other companies obviously that offer a similar product. If we wanted to change companies, is this information able to be exported into files that can easily be adapted or adopted by other companies as well?
Yeah, great question. You can export information at any time through our reports tab. And then if you do decide to move to a different company, we provide you a backup file of all of your data.
Thank you. And if this was something that the town was interested in moving forward on, do you offer free training for those who are going to be using the program?
Yes, all the training is free, all the support is free. So anytime someone needs help, we want you to call us. We provide all the customer support staff here in our office. So we've got a great team that can help anyone that needs it.
Thank you. And last question, how would you say your cost compares to the other programs out there?
Yeah, our cost is very competitive. It's not the least expensive item on the market. It's definitely not the most. We're usually around the middle at a very competitive price.
Thank you, Council Goalie. Any other council discussion on the presentation? Seeing none, down to the public. Could you, Mr. Vernon, please unshare your screen? That way I can see the people on Zoom in case they have a question for you. Thank you very much. Questions or comments on the presentation to the public? Mr. Bisk?
Jimmy Biss, 32 Forest Avenue. This program, like it was said, we have a lot of elderly here. They'll still be able to come in and do the permitting right here on paper, right? Like we've been doing. I didn't hear that at all during this presentation, so I just want to clarify that. Okay, thank you.
Yep, this is just providing an online option. It's an option. Yep. Any other questions from the public? On Zoom, seeing none. Thank you very much for your presentation, and I'm sure the manager will be in touch with you.
Thank you.
All right, if we're ready to go to the orders, order number 32-2023. Council Higgins, would you please read?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Order number 32, 2023, providing for execution of the town warrant for February 23rd, 2023. It is ordered that the town warrant for February 23rd, 2023 in the amount of $125,377.49 is hereby approved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Higgins, seconded by Councilor Madore. Any heavy hitter?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. $1,379.99 ambulance medical billing. $1,073.89 bill medical, again. $3,027.57 Bloomer Russell Bopane, that's legal. $1,355.35 Chives, that's corp, that's for the snow blower repairs. $1,350 for Eastern Area Agency on Aging. That was that donation that we voted on. $2,034.67 Eastern Maine Development Corp. That's grant support. $4,743.62 Industrial Protection Services. That's for the fire gear. That was part of the King grant. $1,421 Lansing's Funeral Homes Incorporated. That's GA. $7,554.59 Maine Municipal Association. $44,924.20 Maine Water Company, that's wastewater. $21,202.18 Municipal Review Committee, that's waste disposal. $9,074.38 Oliver Associates, that's the engineering that was discussed on the projects. $6,404.27 Preble Oil, that's fuel oil. $1,412.85 Rollins Plumbing and Heating, that's for the control valve replacement. And that is it for that warrant.
Thank you very much. Council discussion on the order, number 32. Seeing none, down to the public. Zoom, seeing none. All those in favor? 7-0. Order number 33-2023. Council Goldie, would you please read?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, order number 33, 2023, providing for execution of the wastewater warrant for February 23rd, 2023. It is ordered that the wastewater warrant for February 23rd, 2023 in the amount of $33,775.26 is hereby approved.
Second.
Motion made by Council Goldie, seconded once again by Councilman Dorr. And any heavy hitters?
Yes, a few, $3,600 roughly for Maine Water Company, $2,172 for Town of Millinocket, $7,600 Oliver Associates, $2,900 for Pierce Atwood, and $1,410 for Witten's 2A service.
Thank you, Council Goldie. Any council discussion on the order? Seeing none, down to the public. Zoom, seeing none once again, call the vote. All those in favor? 7-0 once again. Order number 34-2023, Council Danforth, would you please read?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, order number 34-2023, providing for approval of application for appointment to the Recreation Advisory Committee. It is ordered that the Millinocket Town Council approves the appointment of Andrew Caruso to the Recreation Advisory Commission for a 3-year term to expire February 2026. Note, Andrew's application was received on February 10th, 2023, and is the only application on file. If approved, the board has one alternate seat available to fulfill.
Motion made by Council Danforth, seconded by Council Bragdon. Council discussion on the order. Council Danforth.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just would like to thank Andrew for putting his name out there and joining this committee. He'll be a great addition to the committee. Thank you.
Any other council comment? Council Goldie?
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say relatively the same thing. Reading the application, this, speaks to, I think, a lot of people out there who have a vested interest in seeing the town improve. There are many ways of getting involved to support a lot of efforts in town. This is the Recreation Advisory Committee. Obviously, this person, has children and wants their involvement in the town to be enhanced with different programs. And, he's applying to further that. And I applaud him for that and hope that others in the community who are looking to make improvements to the town also get involved on various levels. You don't have to run for council or school board. There's many other ways you can either volunteer or join a committee. So thank you to Andrew for setting the example.
Thank you, Council Goldie. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, I'll just say thank you, Andrew, for stepping up and filling a seat and serving Town of Millinocket. Any public comment? Seeing none, via Zoom. Again, seeing none. All those in favor? 7-0. Order number 35-2023. Council Higgins, would you please read?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Order number 35-2023, providing for the approval of an application for entertainment license for American Legion Post 80. It is ordered that the attached application for the entertainment license is hereby approved for Lester Raymond Jr. 534 Midway Road, Belunkus Township. DBA Donald V. Henry, Legion Post 80, 970 Central Street, Millinocket.
Second.
Motion made by Council Higgins, seconded by Council Madore. Council discussion on the order. Seeing none, down to the public. Nothing via Zoom. Back to the council. All those in favor? Seeing 7-0. Order number 36-2023, Council Madore, would you please read?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Order number 36-2023, providing for approval of an application for a malt Finest and Spirituous liquor license for American Legion Post 80. Is where the attached application for a malt, finest and spirituous liquor license is hereby approved for Donald V. Henry, American Legion Post 80, 970 Central Street, Millinocket, doing business as the Donald V. Henry, American Legion Post 80, 970 Central Street, Millinocket.
Second.
Motion made by Council Madore, seconded by Council Bragdon. Council discussion on order number 36. Seeing none, down to the public. Public via Zoom, seeing none, back to the council. All those in favor? 7-0. Order number 37-2023, Council Goley, would you please read?
Order number 37-2023, providing for approval to write off delinquent ambulance receivables. It is ordered that the Millinocket Town Council approves the writing off of $215,998.09 of old ambulance receivables, which have been outstanding since July 2021 and prior.
Second.
Motion made by Council Goley, seconded by Council Madore. Council Goley, would you please speak to the order?
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful if the manager and or the chief explain this process for all of us and to the public. Obviously, 215, almost $16,000 is a lot of money to write off. Thank you.
Sure.
Council Goley, manager, would you please speak to it?
Yeah, I'm happy to. This is my first rodeo with this. However, my understanding is that it is not normally this long of a wait for these write-offs, and the batches are not normally quite as high. Part of the discrepancy had come, or part of the delay had come from several different billing companies over the course of the past several years. And then just some transition issues with the timing on that since the time of these bills. But we do understand that the new billing service and the agreement with the new agreement with the Thomas Agency for Collections has actually got things back to normal. So any future write-offs will be dependent on the Thomas Agency and their collection process. Not normally this long and not normally this high of a number once these were to roll around in the past. Does that help?
Any council discussion? Council Bragdon?
Just out of general curiosity, I know it says 2021 and prior. How many years exactly is prior?
I'm not entirely sure. Tom, do you know the answer to that?
Tom L. from 73 School Street Fire Chief. I'm not quite sure of the exact date, but we were with Higgins Company for about 10 years. So I'm gonna say it was probably at least 5 or 6. We started having trouble with the Higgins company that we were with in billing and following up on billing, and we never had anything. When we billed through the Higgins company, if they didn't collect, you got it and wrote it off in small amounts. As the manager was saying, this is built up. The new agency that we're using now, not only if they can't collect it, then we have hired a collection agent that goes after it as well. And then if they determine it's not payable, then you will see it. But I'm gonna say that it's probably back at least 5 or 6 years. Thank you.
Would you stay there for a moment, because we have other council comment? Council Danforth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you just explain why monies weren't received? Is it because people didn't have money to pay their bill? Like what? How does it get to be this amount, or people can't pay what their insurance doesn't pay? I mean, can you just explain?
It's basically, you hit it. The people aren't paying. We were always very fortunate in this community. We had many people that if they owed something on a bill, they would come in and pay $5 a week, $10 a week, whatever they could do. We don't have that as much anymore. And there's a lot of uninsured. We do a lot of runs that there's no insurance to collect from. You build them and and you don't get anything. And what you gotta understand is, if they call 911 in our region, we have to respond. We don't have any choice responding. Even if we get there and there's no need of them going to the hospital, then when we're in the hospital, we have to. Basically, that comes from jail.
Yep.
Chief, so going forward, I mean, I'm uncomfortable signing off on this number as well. That's a good chunk of change. And I don't know if we're allowed to see not allowed to see the work that goes into this. Normally, there's work to back this up. I don't know if that's like patient privilege or whatever, but how many would you estimate? Is there like a ballpark figure, 100, 200, 300? That this goes into?
Yeah. I haven't seen the latest slide. It would just be a guess. I'm not sure.
And going forward, you don't see this going to be an issue like this again?
Well, like I said, we're back on track with this new company. The prior company, we had some issues all along. You know, things got better and worse, and they had a hard time to keep people, and that dealt a lot with it. When the hospital always did our billing, and once we went out of that and went into these private billing companies, the company that we had did an awesome job at the beginning of it, but then they started to lose people, and bills weren't getting put out.
Well, I think it's another sign of the times how difficult of a situation people are in this day and age. Council Goalie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there a deadline that we need to do this by? Is it time sensitive, or could it wait till the next council meeting? Just out of,
I'm not entirely sure. I don't imagine that 2 weeks would be a deal breaker.
I ask because if it wasn't handled in the way that we would want it to be handled, I wonder if it's possible for even a portion to be hired out with a credit collection company to try and get some of it at least.
I'm not sure, Council Goldie, but I think that we've already been down that avenue. That would be a Mary Alice question. I don't know to give you to definitely stand here and tell you the yes. I can't, I don't know for sure. But I know she sent me some stuff and wanted to know what my thoughts were on them, and they were too old. It was not a good.
Thank you.
Council Bador.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going back quite a ways, at one time, Tom's right, the hospital used to handle our ambulance billing. There was a shakeup at the hospital. Councilor Bisk, I believe, was on the council at the time. Understood that at the time there was over $250,000 that was uncollected on ambulance fees that was going through the hospital. The hospital since then has dropped their ambulance billing, and we have gone through private companies. Now, what you're seeing here, unfortunately, isn't unusual and hasn't been unusual for probably the last decade or more. As far as the amount, it just happens to be that this amount has piled up because of different companies. But the actual amount for unpaid ambulance fees is not unusual. And it is not something that is more so than it has been in the past. We have managed to go anywhere from $250,000 to 196 million. I believe one time we had 138, I mean, not million, but thousand, 138,000. Yeah, we have been in six figures most of the time on these building collections that have been, and we have gone private companies trying to go ahead and gone to secondary companies that would be going after delinquent billing, and that didn't work out. We got a small portion, but the expense was much higher than it was for the return. So the answer is there is no answer. And hopefully this company that we're with now will give us a more timely write-offs when they're necessary. But these numbers, believe me when I tell you, are not unusual. They are consistently high and have been for a number of years. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Council Biden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse my ignorance on the matter, but I'm kind of in the same boat as Councilor Galib. I would like to know more about exactly how we came to this number and if any of it is that possible, if we can get any of it back. Just like you said, Mr. Chairman, there's nothing attached. We really don't have any information. I'd be curious to hearing from Mary Alice on the subject and seeing what her thoughts are, just so all bases are covered, personally. Thank you.
Am I getting a feeling from the council that? Council Pelletier, sorry.
I make a motion, we table order 38/2023.
Motion has been made to table order number 37 by Council Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Golley. So just so we know, there is no discussion on a tabled motion.
Right.
So we're gonna move to a vote. All those in favor of tabling order number 37/2023 till the next council meeting. And do I see 7-0? Yeah. 7-0. Order number 37 has been tabled. Thank you, Chief, for standing there.
It's gonna matter.
Order number 38/2023. Council Bragdon, would you please read?
Order number 38/2023, providing for approval, I work for online code permitting and allocation of American Rescue Plan Act funding. Whereas the town manager and code enforcement officer have researched several providers for online code permitting and have decided on a recommendation of iWork, a company used by many main towns and cities, and whereas the town manager recommends allocating ARPA funding to cover the cost of the first 3 years of a 5-year contract covering a trial period and not placing risk on the taxpayer. It is ordered that the Millinocket Town Council authorizes the town manager to sign all related documents and enter into an attached agreement with iWork. It is further ordered that the Millinocket Town Council approve the allocation and expenditure of local ARPA funding in the amount of $16,000 to cover the first 3 years of the 5-year contract. Now, contract attached ongoing rate of $6,000 annually. If approved, implementation will begin right away at no additional cost for the remainder of this fiscal year.
Second.
Motion made by Council Bragdon, seconded by Councilor Danforth.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilor.
I move that we table order 38/2023 till the next council meeting, as there are still, I believe, some issues that need to be or could be looked into with moving forward.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Madore, seconded by Councilor Pelletier. No discussion. We'll go to a vote on tabling order number 38. See 1, I see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes to table order number 38, 7-0. Oh, you did vote? 6-0-1. Council Bragdon abstained. Moving on to order number 39/2023. Councilor Pelletier, would you please read?
Certainly. Order number 39/2023, providing for increase to airport part-time budget. Whereas the airport manager and town manager have identified the need to bolster the existing part-time budget at the airport to offer competitive pay for special licenses and certifications required for the position, as well as an increase in hours. And whereas the Millinocket Town Council has agreed and recommended a proposal be brought forward for consideration, it is ordered that the Millinocket Town Council, after review of the attached proposal, approves the town treasurer to increase the airport part-time budget by $9,596 from the unassigned fund balance to cover this increase for the remainder of the fiscal year. Understanding that, as proposed, the reflected increase to the next fiscal budget for this position will total $44,000, factoring in payroll taxes, workers' comp, etc.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Higgins. Councilors, discussion on the order? Councilor Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the increase is needed. I mean, going minimum wage It's a trained, it's. I'm all for raising it.
Council Higgins. Council Bragg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there any way we can ask, I can ask us, yeah, one more question? Jeff, the last time that you were here, I had asked if what was proposed before, the idea of the concept of raising it, was enough for you. Is a part-time position going to be enough for you to sustain that airport all year long?
It's going to be enough in the interim. Oh, Jeff Campbell, Airport Manager, 3 Jennifer Street. It's going to be enough in the meantime. Yes.
And-
We need to try to do something to bolster the situation. Moving forward, I may be back to you a year or two from now to try to figure out a full-time assistant manager or something. Business is increasing and things are increasing and things are happening out there. So in my opinion, this is where we need to start. I didn't want to come to you guys with a huge proposal that would be shot down. I want to try to work with it the best we can.
And I appreciate that. And the amount that's being asked for in this proposal, is that average across the state?
That is the average of a airport operator. That's gonna, I mean, that rate that I show there is provided everything is accounted for, like a Class B license to run equipment, underground fuel storage facility, Class B operator certificate through Tank Smart. That includes 2 or 3 other items that our fuel management system requires for training.
Perfect, I
For-
appreciate
For
it.
fueling jets.
Awesome, thank you.
Good. Jeff, I got one question for you. What does the hourly rate? Quick math on that you're proposing. I see the total increase, but what is it raises it from a 13.80 minimum wage to a
18.
18?
Yeah, and that is providing that all the licenses are required, and that's 28 hours a week.
Gotcha.
And that's a
I didn't
year round.
see this here.
Yeah, that's a year round position. That's not a seasonal and on call in the winter position. That's a year round, 28 hours a week.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Down to the public. Public via Zoom, seeing none, back to the council. Call the vote. All those in favor? 4, 5, 6, 7, it's a 7-0 vote. And order number 40-2023, Councilman Madore, would you please read?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Order number 40-2023, providing for extension of town manager's contract. Whereas the town council desires to extend the current town manager's contract for 5 years. And whereas the town council and the manager have negotiated a contract extension that is acceptable to both parties. And that has been reduced to a written contract. It is ordered that the chairman of the town council is authorized to execute the written contract on behalf of the town of Millinocket.
Motion made by Councilman Madore, seconded by Councilor Golley. Councilman Madore, would you please speak to the order?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we've gone through the process of contract negotiation with the manager to secure his position within our community for an extended period of time. He has gone through already a review that has been very favorable. He is asking for a salary that is comparable to town managers in other parts of the state that are similar size, not necessarily in rural Aroostook County, but in the more populated areas that are probably the size of Millinocket. He has shown his obviously ability to adapt, to expand his horizon and that. And I think that this is a very fair and lucrative contract for both the town for stability and the manager for security. And I would support this contract going forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Madore. Any other council comment? Council Danforth?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is a win-win for the town and for the manager. He has proven to be a great fit for us. I see this as an investment in the town of Millinocket. I'll be voting in favor of this order. Thank you.
Council Danforth. Any other council comment? Council Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to say I oppose this contract extension. Town manager's contract currently still has 1 year remaining on it. His original contract was $75,000 and was increased to $80,000 at 6 months performance review. The proposed contract extension will be increasing his salary to $90,000 with increases every year of $5,000. With his annual salary at the final year of his contract extension to be $110,000. With these salary increases, there's also a cost of annual living increases, which we know not every employed resident of this town will receive from their employers. This will also entitle him to a 2% commission on new business he brings to town. And I looked into it as of January 26, 2023, the average town manager salary in Maine is between $73,688 and $93,652. With the city of Portland's average salary being $83,714, according to salary.com. They are by far a much larger community than what we are here in Millinocket. I also think that the contract should be amended to require the town manager to reside in the town limits during a standard work week, and that the residents of the town be afforded more time to consider and weigh in on this contract. So I will oppose this.
Thank you, Council Higgins.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Council Madore.
just for point of clarity, and if you look at the Maine Municipal site and you check the city of Portland, they're currently advertising for the town manager. The base salary is, the bottom figure is $225,000, the top figure is $265,000 for their town manager. That is the city of Portland currently, and that's advertising this year. They're in the process of searching for one right now, just for the point of clarity for that statement right there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Madore. Council Pelletier.
I support this contract adjustment. We all know we can make statistics say whatever we want. But if we think back to before we hired the current manager, we had offered through 2 sets of searches, 4 people, a range of 90 to 120,000 back then. And given the lack of experience and the learning curve that the current manager had to go through, he started a real low number with us. And I was thankful for that. But in this last year, he's more than proven capability and increased his knowledge base and has really had a calming effect on the town. Good PR. He's worth every penny of it, and I'm going to support it.
Thank you, Council Pelletier. Council Golley.
Thank you, Mr. Manager,
I'm not a man.
or Mr. Chairman and the manager. Why not? Throw them all in. I do understand Councilor Higgins' point, but there is another side to it. As Councilor Pelletier pointed out, we did start off with a lower salary because at the time the manager had not had experience managing other towns or municipal experience at all. We did take a risk, and it obviously proved very fruitful for all of us. The second year of that 2-year contract that you referenced, we did not have a salary set. So even if we did fill the remainder of those 2 years, we would still have to decide on a salary that's fitting for the manager's performance, which, as was pointed out, was very favorable. That being said, by amending this contract, we're basically securing what we know works and works very well for a longer period of time rather than one more year. So to me, that's more of an insurance policy for the town and for the manager to feel comfortable that we're setting that intention of having a long-term relationship. The other side of it also is, what's the cost of losing a manager that's clearly doing an incredible job? It took an extremely long time for us to find a new manager that we were happy with. And I think it's worth every penny of making sure that we have a manager that the council gets along with extremely well, and that supports the town, the staff, and everyone. So from my point of view, paying within the range that we posted when we initially posted for his proven experience is very reasonable. Lastly, we all were getting advice from our contracted municipal expert on this. And that's really all I can say about that. I can't go in any further, but you'll see in our bills and our executive sessions that we had hired an expert, and we got his advice, and this is what we're following. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Goalie. Council Bragdon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 points that I would like to bring up. The first one about the manager not having a requirement to live in town. I've heard this quite frequently in the past week. There have been past managers in Millinocket that have not lived in town. We also don't require every single employee of the town to live in town. That doesn't mean that the manager will not be active in town. He's made that very clear that he chooses, that he keeps his town close to his heart and that he plans to participate in the area. But I think that he should have a decision on where he wants to live. Secondly, there were a bunch of counselors during the search for a manager that did their own research and found that there is a major shortage of town managers in the state of Maine, and people do not want to come here. And those that do are close to retirement and do not want to sign a 5-year contract, which is very, very saddening. But as pointed out, a lot of the people that did want to come to town that I spoke with or wanted to come to the state wanted way more than $100,000. I spoke to several towns that were giving offers of 125,000 plus. And as Councilor Bedore mentioned, Portland is offering an insane amount of money to go be the manager of Portland. So I will be in favor of this contract tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bragdon. Suppose I'm the only one left. So I'm gonna give a little backstory and then qualify that, and I'll keep it to the order. My research was very similar to Councilor Higgins. In that process of going through the executive sessions and talking to experts like Councilor Goldweed had said, the only way that I could justify this and rationalize it in my mind, because it is a high dollar figure. It is. But in like real estate, there's markets. There's a buyer's market and there's a seller's market. Unfortunately, right now, the way the professionals described it to us, so I could understand it, is this is what the call is right now. So I looked at the existing contracts of other towns and tried to weigh that against what we're offering. And you just can't get those houses anymore. You can't get those properties anymore. You can't get those managers anymore for the 60s and the 65,000 and the 70,000s. Those days are done, and it's being done all across the state. So as uncomfortable that feels, you have to rationalize that by getting the best deal that you can, getting the more bang for your buck. So as many different ways this could have gone, it was designed to be more palatable. So I will also be in favor of this contract. Also the days of, and it's not in the order or in the contract, but I'm allowing this to be said right now just to air it out. I would also prefer to have a manager that lives in town. And as of right now, the manager does live in town, and he has assured me that he has no intentions to leave, but he has that option if he so chooses. And that's also happening all across the state. And it's just the times that we have to live in. I think it's more important to make the manager feel comfortable in a town that he lives in and works in. So I think that's also important. So with that being said, I think all of us counselors have talked on the issue. I'm gonna go down to the public and name and address, please.
Jeff Campbell, 3 Juniper Street, an airport manager, department head for the town. Is it appropriate for me to speak on your behalf? It doesn't sound like the manager needs my support, although he has it 100%. I've seen a lot of things come and go. I've seen a lot of things happen in this town over my basically 17 years as an airport operator for this town. I am wholeheartedly in support of my manager, my boss, my team lead in this particular situation. Nobody knew what to expect year and a half ago. So here we have it. Things are good. Things are good. Things are well run. Problems are being solved. And every time, me personally, I go in that office, we look for solutions. We don't get shuffled back to our department wondering if anything's going to ever happen. So me, as your department head and your airport manager, I appreciate what he's doing.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other public comment? Tom?
Tom Malcolm, 73 School Street. I've been here a long time, 48 years this year. And I've worked with a lot of managers, worked with a lot of councils, but we are finally stable. We're doing good. Things are looking up. All departments are working well together. Things have really been well, like a well-oiled machine, okay? We went through some rough times with some managers that we had come in and out of here. And I fully support Peter. I too, when they first hired Peter, I said the same thing. How's this gonna work? You know, he's young, he's inexperienced, but you can sit down and talk to him, explain things. He understands it, he gets it, but he cares. That's the biggest thing, is having somebody that cares. Having somebody that cares about this community. I realize it's a lot of money, and I fully understand where Councilor Higgins is coming from. We just went through the same thing with the school board, but there are no people that want those kind of positions. There just aren't enough of them out there. So when you get somebody that's doing a good job, you need to support them. And I know I speak on behalf of a lot of the other employees that we fully support Mr. Jameson. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Biss? And I know, Sandy, that you're up next.
Jimmy Biss, 32 Forest Avenue. I want to say I agree with Councilor Higgins. We're not Portland. We don't want to be like Portland. I want to make that perfectly clear. I've heard that comment many times on other issues. I feel that the salary's too high. We're in the financial situation we are. We have high taxes, high mill rate. Been going up the last 6 years. We can't afford more, and more. But I see it's gonna pass. There's no question it's gonna be a slam dunk here. I like to wish more of the townspeople could weigh in on this. Maybe table it and have more people weigh in, get this publicized and see what people have to say. But I definitely feel that the language that you put in there, where you gave the town manager $5,000 so he can move out of town, that language needs to be taken out. So for this kind of wages, that he lives in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Biss. Ms. Sullivan on Zoom?
Thank you. I'm Sandy Sullivan, 104 Sunset Drive. When Mr. Jameson was originally proposed as manager, the main reason that I supported him was because he's a town boy with a family in town who's interested in the town, and that has not changed. I have seen over the last year, he's bringing the town into this century. Many people may be dragging their feet, not wanting to come, but the town needs to be brought into this century. And I agree with everyone else. town managers are hard to find. I would say you better scoop him up at 90,000, or he may decide to go to Portland for that 225. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Any other public comment?
I'm not gonna comment on the.
Name and
salary-
address,
Oh,
please.
sorry. I'm bad. Rael Dume, 441 Penobscot Avenue, paid up taxpayer. I'm not gonna comment whether it's too high or too low. It's like maybe Biss said, it's already set in stone, whatever, it's whatever it is, whatever it is. But I will propose though, since we have this kind of money to throw around, that we give the counselors $1,000 raise for the next 5 years. Another $5,000 for the chairs and the counselors with, I think they earn that money too. And next election cycle, when I run for one of these seats, I wouldn't mind recouping some of my tax money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dume. Mr. Levitt? I have not talked to him. He does not go.
330 Congress Street. I was looking over the contract and at the beginning of when Peter was first town manager, I expressed myself, the inexperience and everything. And as I come to these meetings and that, and I've sat down and talked to Peter, I've emailed Peter. And I think he's growing into the position. I don't have any problem. I think he's answered my emails, which sometimes counselors don't. But anytime I've walked in his office, he's talked and that, and like I said, the money is different because like I said, you go in the mills, you go here, you go there, managers get high prices, you know, the hospital CEOs way up. And like I said, they're getting paid for something that we look and it might be small. And I applaud Mr. Jameson because I know that he's going through a lot of stuff there and he's got a lot of opposition and some of the time it's me, you know, but I really appreciate him. But the only thing is, I know that 5 years is a long time, so I don't know where you come to, I know long-term, but with a 3-year would be municipal bill, because like I said, just like somebody said, he could go to Portland, he could sign that and tomorrow be in Portland. You know, so we're looking at him to be long-term and I know he's dedicated to this town, but sometimes money talks, sometimes it don't. But I'm saying, just like any of us, we go to a job, we sign a job and the next job comes up for a holy shoot. I'm making 90,000 here. I can make 200,000 in Portland. Portland's accepted me. Now I'm leaving the town and now we're back in the same position that we was. But like I said, it's a hard decision. And like I said, the thing I agree with the lady that talked was that he is bringing us in to the next generation. And that's what we need. That's what our counselors need. I keep writing, I keep saying, we have to change the policies. We got to change the procedures. We can't keep back in the 80s and 90s. These things have changed. And I believe with me corresponding with Mr. Jameson, it's happening because he replies to me. And that's one thing I appreciate him doing, is replying to me. And like I said, no matter what I say, he might not like it or whatever, but he takes it. And like I said, he respects, and that's what we need to do, is respect each other and work with each other to bring everything back to the 2023 mode, not to leave in the 80s, 90s. Like I emailed him before, I said, you know, is that, you know, I like to see a code book so I've already gone through the thing with
Scott,
it.
let's keep it to the order.
Okay, in that, but I'm just showing the appreciation that he has applied to me.
He's feeling the
You know.
love. He's feeling the love.
Okay, as long as he feels the love.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Any other public comment? Ms. Jameson?
Stephanie Jameson, 14 Russia Boulevard here in Millinocket, Maine. In case anybody in the room doesn't know, I'm married to the manager. Just so that we're clear on that. I just wanted to say that there seems to be a lot of people who have this like borderline obsession almost with where we live. And I'm really tired of talking about it. I'm really tired of people asking me about it or making assumptions about us when they don't know anything about us or our family or the very personal private decisions we might make about our family. So I just wanted to have that be said. I also wanted to just be clear that I was sitting there thinking, I don't know that there's been a big community event that he's missed or that we've missed with our kids. So if the concern is that he's not going to be present in the community, I can assure you that he very much is. It's important to him. It's important to me. We're passing that on to our kids. We both are from Millinocket. So regardless of where we live, however many years in the future, if we ever move, we will always be from Millinocket, both of us. So I think maybe people just need to maybe just calm down a little bit. Let us worry about where we raise our kids and where we live and know that we love this town. And I know that my husband really, he dedicates a lot of his time, even outside of the office. I think he's working, even when he's at home, his brain's working. He's thinking all the time. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you. And
Thank
I
you very much.
appreciate the support. I came in here with a lot of armor on, you guys. You made me feel a lot better. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other public comment? Mr. Manager?
Just a point of clarification for me, after a brief, thank you for your support, most of you. It was said earlier this evening that I was receiving some amount of money to aid in me to move. I'd like to point out that that language does not exist in my contract. Clarification, that's for you, my friend, Mr. Brown. Sure the information in the paper stays accurate as can be. And I'd like to remind everybody, before you speak about a document, it's respectful to read the document. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Anything new to add, Mr. Besk, or?
Well, give me just 32 Forest Avenue, it certainly directed me. I want to make it clear that the $5,000 was put in the same time as the language to move out of town. That's why I just worded it that way, because they were together at that time. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Besk. Yes. Thank you. All those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those opposed? Vote carries 6-1. Reports and communications. Warrant Committee for March 9th. Madam Clerk, is that date correct? Council meeting will be Council Madore and Council Pelletier. Warrant Committee will be Council Madore and Councilor Pelletier. Don't like the way that reads.
We're all set.
Chair Committee reports. Council Danforth, would you please lead us?
Thank you. I have a couple things from the Age Friendly Committee. The Katahdin Snowdown was a huge success, and as most of you know, and we said last time, that came out of the Age Friendly Committee. I just want to give a special thanks to Thrive Penobscot Project Assistant Robin Stevens. She took the lead on coordinating and a leadership role in making sure that that happened. Great turnout, municipal participation. Lots of pictures are being shared on the Thrive Penobscot Facebook page. We'll hope the time can share them too, and getting lots of love of all the great activities that happened there. One other thing that I just want to bring to your attention, and I'll be speaking about it at future council meetings, that there's another project in the works by Barbara Riddle Dvorak. She's a AmeriCorps member working with our age-friendly committee, but she's working on planning a Millinocket Farmers and Artisan Market to happen starting this summer in concert with the age-friendly committee. So she does have a tentative kickoff date for Saturday, June 3rd. It would be in Veterans Park, happening between 9 and like 12 every Saturday. And she is working with the Maine Federation of Farmers Markets to bring this to fruition. So that's very exciting. I've asked her to connect with the events committee. I know that perhaps and a lot of the other committees, and I know she's been talking to Tom Malcolm as well to make sure we get the right permits to use Veterans Park. So more to come on that, but that's another exciting project of the Age Friendly Committee. Our next meeting isn't until Tuesday, March 21st, and I'll keep you updated. Future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Danforth, Council Gottlieb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a really good and very long Sustainability and Economic Development Committee meeting. We went over proposed language for a short-term rental. What would you call it? Restrictions / guidelines, registrations, that's the word. You can tell I'm still tired from that meeting. We will have final language at an upcoming meeting. Basically, we made some adjustments to it. We're going to run it by legal to make sure it all looks good. I was thinking I might sit down with the chair of the planning board as well to look it over. If he had any suggestions, maybe invite him to the next committee meeting as well, just to have an extra set of eyes on it. At which point, if the committee feels everything looks good, then we'll make the recommendation to the council on adopting it. We also went over a change to our town tax acquired properties. It's currently in a bidding process. There were old policies that were also very long that we talked about potentially shortening up and changing the language on to make it more updated to how we feel it should go now. So there'll be also a draft for the committee to review next time as well. We had 2 presentations, one from Amy Collinsworth. She's the Regional Director of Economic Development. She presented on things that she and her office does for businesses in the region. And we also discussed in that committee meeting, and thank you to Councilor Higgins for bringing that to the attention as well, ways that we can support local businesses as well to ensure that our committee is serving its purpose in that area. I sent an email out to Amy Collinsworth to let her know that we discussed having a change in the way that we're doing our annual survey. We talked about this year doing a survey that targets just businesses. It would be anonymous. They would basically fill out a form that gives us as a committee an idea of what kind of support they're really needing. Some of those things we may not be able to do as a municipality, but Amy Collinsworth and her organization and many others have a lot of services that might actually be able to fit some of those needs. So a lot happened in that meeting. We also had an update from Patrick and Celeste, who's the architects doing our airport terminal building. So everything there is going smoothly as well. I will make it posted when we're looking at the next meeting. It should probably be in a few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Gottlieb, Council Pelletier.
Yes, the Charter Review Committee had a meeting scheduled for March 1st. And due to a few members not being comfortable with the date, we have canceled it. And I've sent out a survey to all the committee members, so that as soon as I get a response from all the members of the committee, then I'll schedule another meeting.
One more thing to add on your committee. It was not the Sustainability Committee, thank you. It was not the intent to leave Wally Paul off in that committee. The Charter Review, sorry, back to you, Council Pelletier. I knew there was a reason. It was not the intent to leave Wally off of that committee, so make it known, please, Madam Clerk, that Wally Paul is to be added back to that committee as a member.
Thank you. I have
It
noted
was
that.
not voted on as the order, but I'm just gonna put him back on
We're
it.
appointing him now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Noted.
Thank you for that. Any more chair committee report? Seeing none, we will enter the 2-minute public comment portion of the meeting. where we allow the public to come and speak for 2 minutes. Address your name and your address. Please keep it to 2 minutes. Do not address council specifically, and if they decide to engage with you, that is completely their purview. So at this time, I would like to invite anybody that would like to speak. Please go ahead. Chief?
Tom Malcolm, 73 School Street. I just want to publicly thank the Public Works Department, Rec Department, and East Milwaukee Police Department for another wonderful Winterfest. It was a great activity. Thanks to Age Friendly for putting on Snow Down. Tomorrow is a wrap up in East Millinocket at the Snow Rovers. They have a kids' day all day long at the Snow Rovers in the East. If you missed the parade this year, it was great. We were down some sleds, but the trail was, Public Works did an awesome job. It was really, really good. And we had a good event and a good turnout. So I want to thank the community for that.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. I see your hand up.
Thank you. My comment is just about a previous agenda or order. I would like to suggest you have tabled the ambulance billing for 2 weeks. And it sounds as though no one on the committee knows anything about medical billing. And I know Mary Alice is a great accountant, but I doubt she knows much about medical billing. I would like to suggest that someone talk to a medical biller at the hospital so that you understand how medical billing is done and how timely it has to be. And because it looks to me like some of these are from July of 2021. That insurance companies don't even process sometimes for a year. And so those should be collectible, but you have to have someone who knows about it. So please talk to a medical biller at the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Any other person for public comment? Seeing none?
Matt Bragdon, 92 Lincoln Street. I'm gonna stay up here. I worked with East Millinocket Police Department last week with an older gentleman who was scammed. I try to bring this up once a year, and I didn't bring it up this year during Christmas, but having recently just seen one, I think it's good to mention it since Cat TV is here. And I know that a lot of the older generation does watch TV and gets to see this meeting. If you ever feel you are being scammed or you are being told you're going to win an exorbitant amount of money if you send $500, $600 to somebody, it's probably fake. I urge you to call a family member, call your local IT person, call anybody you need to confirm that it is or isn't a scam. I hate to see people when they lose a ton of money. It really isn't fair to them. So I urge anybody who is watching, if you feel like you're being scammed, reach out to somebody. I hate to see it when it does happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to say one thing. I'm exiting the public comment here. The next regular town council meeting, there will be a presentation from Brookfield. Very important for any stakeholders. They're looking to relicense along the rivers. So make that a point. If that's an interest to you, or if you or your organization consider yourself a stakeholder, they'll be here presenting at the next town council meeting. So please put that out there and alert everybody that you know. Other than that, I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion made by Council Madore, seconded by Council Gottlieb. All those in favor? 7-0. We are adjourned.